God in which they trust, who is the God that they are worshiping, it is a God represented by the giants that mostly all died out. But you have Baal, you have Moloch. You go back to my skull episodes, and I talk about how these gods were originally worshipped by Carthage. Rome invades and conquers Carthage, but they absorbed their gods and they absorbed their magical practices. And those gods were giants with elongated skulls. Sometimes they wore funny helmets to make them look like animal heads, but that's not really what they were underneath. And they would demand child sacrifices. They'd have children literally burned alive. It's disgusting. And so this is satanic. This is a Luciferian cult, and very few people have actually seen this image before. But there's the proof right there, and I'm not going to go into all of it right now because it's quite disturbing, but if you want to look it up online, just look up all the ways in which Baphomet is being demonstrated by people in the music industry. And the one classic example that I did go into in previous episodes was Madonna at the Super Bowl halftime show, very clearly posing like Baphomet. But it's also Beyonce, it's Lady Gaga, it's everybody you can think of, these usually female pop stars put out by the Illuminati in their very tightly controlled now music industry, Grammy Awards, Super Bowl halftime shows, even the Olympic ceremonies. Baphomet is one of the key gods, also Moloch, the owl-headed god. This again is very disturbing stuff, and this is a negative group that co-opted what was originally a positive symbol for negative purposes. And look at what they're doing in our society. You're never going to eat an Oreo cookie the same way again. Can you believe that? The way that I got fat as a kid after my parents divorced, summer of 5th grade, my mom was always buying Oreo cookies, and I would eat a bunch of them at once and think that I'm getting away with something. Little did I realize that I am ingesting, like a communion wafer, right? Like in the Vatican, I'm ingesting the shape of the Cabal. It's all Rosy Cross, Templar crosses, and then look at that. The Pope's cross is in the Oreo symbol, which is also up there on the top left in the Nabisco logo. Then you have Hallmark greeting cards, which have the crown. American Lung Association has the Templar thing. They want you to smoke, right? Exxon, the British company that gives us gas, there it is off to the side. So they put this stuff right out in the open, and they're laughing at you because you don't know what they're doing. You're not paying attention. And here is none other than the Queen. She's still there now, wearing a very dramatic Maltese cross on her cape. And oh, by the way, did I mention the British flag? Holy crap, there it is. There's the cross. Now, I've mentioned before about the idea that World War II was both sides being controlled by a central authority, a central power. So, let's think about that for a minute. Let's think back to Hitler and some of those Nazi uniforms, and is there any similarity to this? Well, how about you take a look at this picture right here? Oh my goodness. There it is. You got the swastika with the eagle. You have the Templar skull and crossbones on the hat, and then right on the neck, right on the throat chakra, is the Maltese cross. Here's a picture of Hitler himself with his Maltese cross right over his heart, and there's an image of the Maltese cross with the swastika in the middle. And if you even remember the German flag during that time, boom, there's your Maltese cross right up in the top left. It was on the Queen of England, and it's on the Germans, which means they're the same group. But if that's not enough, if you're still like, wait for this, kaboom, here we go, take a look. It is Pope Benedict, the guy who actually stepped down because he didn't feel good, which is nonsense. There's an alliance that got him out of power because he was really negative. You can kind of see that just looking at him. He looks really scary, like the Emperor in Star Wars. And he's got the Templar crosses right there on the front, the Maltese cross. And he's got the mitre hat to hide the elongated skull, which some of these people still have. Here's Pope John Paul. He's got the Templar cross on the front. And then if you look carefully, underneath that necktie thing, there's another version of the cross. It's offset by 45 degrees, and it's got a little bit of a filigree on it, but it's the same basic thing. Here's Benedict again, and you know, with the Pope, he's kind of always falling asleep. He's never really fully awake. So you can see he's kind of lidding out there. But he's got those two Templar crosses on either side of his shoulders, and then boom, there it is, the Star of David, the unifying geometric form with a little triangle just thrown in for good measure. And here now is Pope Francis, the new guy, who is still wearing the symbol of the Templars because, again, the Vatican is their seat of power. It's their central office. He's got the mitre hat. If he had the elongated skull, that would be hiding it. The people who really do never take those hats off, but sometimes they don't even need to hide it that much. They're just going to come right out in the open and, oh my gosh, look at that. He's got the all-seeing eye right on his hat. And he's got these really weird candles behind him. Now, this is not the Pope. This is a bishop. But that shows you that they don't even want to hide this, necessarily. They're just going to come right out in the open with it. And here's a guy coming out of Russia who's also a bishop, and he, once again, he was in the running to be Pope, and there are those Maltese crosses right there on his uniform. And guess what? Good old Aleister Crowley. Well, there he is, and he's posing with the Maltese cross that he's wearing in this Masonic regalia, and he's got the Cross of Jerusalem drawn on the picture, and what did he write next to it? Baphomet. Unfrickin' believable. So this is their religion. This is what they follow. This is what they believe. And I want to leave you with another one. If this image of the Templars carrying this giant statue of Baphomet isn't creepy enough, check out the logo of what at one time was the preeminent Italian car company. Which one am I talking about? Alfa Romeo. Rome is the Alpha. Rome is the Alpha male. Now wait a minute, what are we seeing in the Alfa Romeo logo? We see the Templar cross on the left, the red cross, and then on the right we see the crown, and then underneath that is an image of a Draco reptilian, a giant reptilian, eating a human being, or maybe a child that is much smaller. You can see the red child with the head and the two arms. Ah! Rome is the Alpha. We are the Alpha male. The dragon is the Alpha. And then again, we go back to this Templar symbol, these tetrahedrons put together, and how that was now realized in this quantum photograph of the photon. So this all comes back again to the seed of the universe, this Merkaba, which is very much intertwined with what we now see as the seed of the cosmos by the latest, greatest scientific studies. You saw it here first. In the next episode, we're going to get away from all this creepy Illuminati stuff, and we're going to get back to the incredible geometric cosmology that we can build of the cosmos on the largest and smallest levels off of the idea that this original seed crystal photon fractalized into the whole universe. So it's going to get a little bit more nerdy next time, but if you hang in there with me, the payoff is tremendous. We'll see you next time here on Wisdom Teachings. I'm your host, David Wilcock, and I thank you for watching.